have a life to be able to live. You know, it's really going to be hard for me to take more hits than I take it, God forbid, get in front of a jury and have a chance. And so I'm having this emergency call because something has to give. I've listened. I've been a superb client, as you said. I jumped on the plane. I'm coming to New York, but I'm just running around waiting for a shoe to drop.
If I didn't say anything, you would interpret it as hip hop is fine with his behaviors. There's no one else being vocal, so you would look at it and just say, because that mind your business, or let me not say nothing about nothing, or those things, it would allow the entire culture to register as if they're for that behavior.
Look at the outcome.
Hey.
What did I say to you guys? Who can these people run to? You can't go to the boss because the boss is screwing you. Look at Aubrey O'Day. The boss's boss don't care. You could go to the police, all bought and paid for, and even if you get a special prosecutor like Damian Williams, they can just be reassigned to another case. People keep pretending like all of this stuff that they hear about Diddy is something that's new. He's been doing these things.
You've been hearing the whispers for years. Even if it was never said openly on TV, there was always talk that Diddy wasn't just a wild party figure, but someone surrounded by darker rumors of control, intimidation, and people allegedly knowing too much. Industry insiders would hint at troubling stories about secretive gatherings, strict loyalty expectations, and individuals who seemed to disappear from the scene after falling out of favor. Now, footage and recordings are surfacing that show a very different side of the carefully built public image, including tense conversations about lawsuits and media strategy that suggest the real concern was managing perception rather than addressing the truth. At the same time, 50 Cent pushes forward with a Netflix documentary project that echoes long-standing public speculation, while figures like Jaguar Wright claim these patterns were never just rumors, but consistent behavior people chose to overlook. As this narrative unfolds on screen, it raises a hard question. Were these stories ever just gossip, or were they warnings that only made sense once the evidence started to align with them?
You've been saying for years that you feel you knew Diddy's character.
Right.
Yet you said you weren't a part of that lifestyle, you weren't going to the parties. So what makes you so absolutely sure that these kinds of allegations that we've seen against him are true?
Well, I'm surprised by the allegations, as surprised as everyone else is. Like, I didn't make the allegations, I didn't tell people to say these things. It comes out, I see it in the news like everyone else, but I did feel uncomfortable with the way you would present the idea of going to these projects.
To come party with me.
Yeah. And then that swayed me away from it, just that alone.
So you didn't realize
as much stuff was coming. Like, when I seen today, it was allegations of 3 men that said he drugged them, and it's a long time, to be honest with you. Like, when people don't remember being violated for 20 years, it makes me feel a little hard.
What are your thoughts on the allegations against Jay-Z?
That was interesting. When I was saying things, not knowing exactly what I was saying, but I was going, where's Jay at? He's mad quiet. Like while the Puffy thing was going on. But it's obvious now that his team was being made aware that he was in those allegations also. You know, so I hope it works out, because with his family, the things that go on internally is that those accusations are crazy.
Think about how fans used to talk about Diddy's parties. For years, they were framed like a cultural milestone. If you got into a Hamptons white party, you had made it. In celebrity circles, people would brag about being seen there, almost like it was a stop on the same level as iconic landmarks in pop culture. It was presented as loud, exclusive, a little chaotic, but ultimately harmless fun. Then 50 Cent publicly distanced himself, saying he wasn't interested in that world. And suddenly, those glossy Instagram snapshots start to look less like glamorous nightlife and more like something people once quietly warned about but still chased access to. The Netflix documentary adds another layer by revisiting long-circulated industry rumors, including a male escort's account describing being flown in for multi-day private events, hotel suites allegedly transformed into controlled environments, and nights filled with drugs, cameras, and orchestrated activity. And when federal agents reportedly searched properties and found large quantities of personal lubricant and related items, it reignited online conversations, with fans reinterpreting years of jokes and speculation through a much darker lens, where what once sounded like exaggeration now feels, to some, uncomfortably concrete.
It was surprising that he actually filmed it.
It was very interesting to watch a man who's known for his brand presence. You know, he has a really amazing knack for marketing and all of that, and how he was sort of taking that into account in how he was coming off to the public.
The exclusive video also shows Combs in Harlem greeting fans.
I need some hand sanitizer. Hold on. I got. I've been out in the streets amongst the people. Yeah, I gotta take a bath. Like the amount of people that actually I'm coming in contact with, like that's what I have to do. You know what I'm saying? Oh. It's like 150 hugs.
You're a public person as well, and there was one instance in Harlem, and his reaction when those people
Went away.
went away.
Got in the car and said, I feel like I need to wash. Like I'm dirty. This should show you his character.
Was that the reason for including it?
Yeah. I mean, what's the odds that you would do that in front of the camera? Like that's one of the moments where he forgot he was on TV.
Then there are the familiar TV faces who now speak about him in a much darker tone, almost like witnesses recounting something they can no longer ignore. Aubrey O'Day, once known for her rise on Asterisk, making the band Asterisk, has appeared in interviews discussing serious allegations described in legal filings and witness accounts involving disturbing claims of misconduct and exploitation while someone was allegedly incapacitated. In that context, comments from 50 Cent about Diddy's so-called God complex take on a sharper tone, portraying a public image of charm and control that allegedly concealed a more manipulative dynamic behind the scenes. What were once legendary party stories and industry bragging points begin to be reframed in a harsher light, less like glamorous nightlife and more like accounts of coercion, blurred boundaries, and power imbalance hidden behind celebrity access and polished imagery. Figures like Jaguar Wright have echoed similar interpretations, describing a pattern they believe was long overlooked within the entertainment industry's culture of silence.
The whole point of him filming this whole thing was because I'm sure that he planned on doing his own documentary. This is an extreme narcissist you're talking about. Extreme. He's sitting there with feds, an eye shot away from his hotel suite, filming his hotel room, and he's looking at them and he's filming it right back. He's literally saying in certain parts, yeah, make sure you're filming all of this because we need to get some cutaway shots.
That's wild.
No, he was literally, did nobody pay attention to that?
Oh, I saw.
Like he said, yeah, make sure you're filming all of this, we need this for cutaways. Like you're sitting here collecting footage, like a director, like an AD.
Yeah. What does that say to the cameraman that, can anybody be bought, or, he said, the cameraman said he recorded all this for Diddy, and then of course Diddy got locked up, so.
Yeah, Diddy got locked up and he didn't get paid. That's a lot of people seem to have that experience.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Dealing with Combs Enterprise, they come in and they work and they don't get paid.
Jaguar Wright has claimed that Sean Combs wasn't simply exposed through hidden footage, but allegedly chose to have a videographer follow him during a legal investigation because he believed he would ultimately win the case and later turn the entire situation into a documentary portraying himself as the victor. According to that version of events, the recorded material wasn't random behind-the-scenes clips, but extended footage of meetings, hotel stays, and personal moments that could have been edited into a narrative of control and redemption. Wright further suggests that when the plan reportedly collapsed, disputes over payment led to a breakdown in that professional relationship, and the footage eventually circulated beyond his control. Some claims go on to say that it was later acquired for documentary development involving 50 Cent and reframing what was once intended as self-produced storytelling into something far less controllable.
We need to be able to be speaking to the potential jurors. He said, you might only be the guy that watches CNN, but there's 9 billion people in the world, and 7 billion of them are on Instagram or TikTok. We need to have control of that. He said we need to know how these potential jurors are thinking. That's what he said.
Right.
So what does that mean? He hadn't even been arrested yet. He hadn't even been taken into custody yet. Damian Williams hadn't come forward yet with a list of the charges that they were charging him with and what they were taking him to trial for. That didn't happen until December.
Mm-hmm.
So once again, they were losing? Losing what? Losing at what? We need to have control of comms. We need to make sure that we know how the potential jurors are thinking.
Very true.
How does that not sound like anything other than what it is? They were looking to infect the jury pool as early as possible. Look at what happened. Look at the outcome.
Hey.
What did I say to you guys? Who can these people run to? You can't go to the boss because the boss is screwing you. Look at Aubrey O'Day. The boss's boss don't care. You could go to the police, all bought and paid for, and even if you get a special prosecutor like Damian Williams, they can just be reassigned to another case.
In that hotel room footage, he doesn't come across as someone focused on uncovering the truth, but rather as someone urgently concerned with controlling how the situation is being framed publicly. The discussion, as it's described, centers less on legal facts and more on strategy. How to get ahead of the narrative before any formal charges or indictments land. Instead of prioritizing courtroom evidence, the emphasis appears to be on shaping public perception early, making sure the story circulating in media and online spaces is already influenced. Legal commentators have pointed out that this kind of approach resembles treating a federal investigation like a public relations campaign, where the goal is to influence how potential jurors perceive the case long before they ever enter a courtroom.
Look at what happened. Look at the outcome.
Hey.
What did I say to you guys? Who can these people run to? You can't go to the boss because the boss is screwing you. Look at Aubrey O'Day. The boss's boss don't care. You could go to the police, all bought and paid for, and even if you get a special prosecutor like Damian Williams, they can just be reassigned to another case.
And when she says justice wasn't really served, she's pointing to the perceived gap between what those recordings appear to show and how the legal system ultimately handled the case. In her interpretation, even as serious allegations were pursued, the final outcomes didn't fully reflect the scale of what she believes the evidence suggests, especially when it comes to broader claims of coordinated wrongdoing and exploitation. She focuses on how, in her view, the recorded material shows a pattern of anxiety over lawsuits and efforts to manage public perception, without ever directly addressing the people making accusations. From that perspective, she argues it reflects a broader reality some critics describe in high-profile cases, that powerful figures can rely on legal teams, media strategy, and controlled messaging to shape narratives, leaving victims feeling as though the full story was never properly heard or resolved in court.
He owned 25% of Bad Boy. When they started Bad Boy, he puts 25 under his name, 75 under his mother's name. Diddy does. So 75% of the company's under his mother's name, 25% is under his name. One day he comes up to him, fully ready to take this guy out and says, you have to sign off the 25% to me. He says, I'm not going to do it. He says, you have to do it. He forces him to sign up and gives away the 25% over to Diddy. Okay? Gives away the 25% to Diddy. That's his.
Threatening his life?
He threatens his life, allegedly, to give up the 25%, which he ends up giving up to Diddy. And he says, I want to give it back to you. Never gives it back to him. And then later on, when he takes him to court to say, this is my 25%, the court says, no, you have mental issues, you're having challenges here, this is out of control. Boom, Diddy ends up keeping the 25%, nothing ever happens. He never gets the 25% back. This is the guy that was doing all the...
If you want to understand how someone really operates in business, don't just rely on personal stories from acquaintances. Look at the accounts of early partners who were involved in building the foundation of the company and later claim they were pushed out of it. Kirk Burroughs has alleged that he played a key role in the early structure of Bad Boy Entertainment, with expectations of ownership that were later disputed. In interviews and public statements, he has described a breakdown in that business relationship, claiming he was removed from influence and stripped of his stake through pressure and legal maneuvering. These claims have circulated for years and remain part of broader disputes over how the company was structured and who benefited from its success. At the same time, observers often point to how entertainment empires can be built through complex contracts, shifting credit, and tightly controlled ownership structures, where disputes over control and compensation become deeply contested and difficult to fully verify for the outside.
He first, dropped the bomb that he had been essayed by Diddy. It's Kirk Burroughs.
Yeah,
Who has been here since the beginning.
yeah, he's the power.
And he said people keep pretending like all of this stuff that they hear about Diddy is something that's new. He's been doing these things. He's a witness to offenses that happened over 30 years ago.
In later accounts, Kirk Burroughs goes even further, alleging that what many in the industry may have privately suspected but never publicly stated involved inappropriate personal and professional boundary crossings involving Sean Combs. He suggests that people around them were not necessarily surprised by such claims, but rather stayed silent until larger legal disputes brought them into public view. It's important to note these remain allegations, not established facts. However, supporters of this narrative point to other public claims and testimonies, such as accusations from individuals saying they witnessed abusive behavior toward Cassie Ventura, accounts from former collaborators alleging retaliation or mistreatment, and commentary from figures like Jaguar Wright as part of what they see as a broader pattern. From that perspective, they argue it reflects not isolated incidents, but a wider system of alleged control and abuse of power within his professional and personal circle.
I believe that he was victimized, and I think it happened long before the industry. People really don't want to look closer into his childhood and to what his mama had going on in that house. God knows what he saw and what happened to him in his own mama house. All of those strangers, them up involved, looking around, seeing what was going on. And let's just be clear, it sounds like the house was a house of, professional freak-offs. So who knows what he saw or what could have happened to him while she was busy entertaining people and pouring and getting tips, as she would say, for her after-hour life.
Oh yeah. He was. I'm gonna say he was surprised to hear that.
School bus driver. No, was he surprised or was he like, zip it, you talking too much? Because that's what it looked like to me. It looked like you talking a little bit too much. They don't need to know about that. While she was sitting there, because I was a bus driver and I was this, and I worked at the after hours. And I would pour them drinks and they would give me big tips.
She didn't say it just like that. Big tips. You know, in
Big tip and spending cheese.
in Sean's own words, in Diddy's own words, he had said he had a sigh of relief learning that he was the son of a hustler or a gangster. Like he wanted that status. He wanted to say that he was like a sigh of relief is a wild thing to say, that your daddy was a gangster or a hustler, or that's what you heard that he was.
Well, I mean, like Tim said, they had a bunch of blaxploitation movies being played around the house all the time. They grew up with the Mac playing. They grew up with Superfly playing. Like, I mean, if that's what you got going on, you got two women in the house and there's no men around, and these are what the little boys are watching. You got basketball players coming over late at night. You got hustlers coming over, PIMPs coming over, women who look like they were modeling for Jet Magazine coming over. Like, it sounds like the nature of the environment is what shaped their perception of what cool was.
Jaguar Wright has offered a more psychological interpretation of the allegations and public narratives surrounding Sean Combs, framing them as part of a broader conversation about upbringing and behavior rather than excusing any alleged actions. She has spoken about how childhood environments shaped by instability, survival pressures, or exposure to adult responsibilities can distort a person's understanding of love, power, and control later in life. In that view, she suggests that someone raised in those conditions might come to associate success with dominance and influence over others, especially when they reach wealth and fame. According to this interpretation, critics argue that instead of resolving those early influences, such patterns may be repeated in adulthood through controlling behavior in personal and professional relationships. It's a perspective that tries to connect biography with behavior, while still leaving room for accountability and the serious nature of the allegations being discussed.
He was trying to shape Misa into his mother. Can you see that? Like,
Yeah, with the blonde hair and yeah, and all of that. I mean,
it's really.
Yes, the question: what kind of man puts his hands on his mother? The same kind of man that parties with his mom. The same kind of man who kisses his mom in the mouth. The same kind of man who seems to have accurate knowledge that his elderly mother can put both of her hands, her palms, on the floor and while she's standing up, bent over.
Oh damn! I ain't seen that one. Oh.
You never seen the Instagram video when he was talking about how his mom was still young and spry and how she still liked to party and how they was getting a IV drip?
Oh. Damn.
And she was kissing him in the mouth on the video and he was like, yeah, my mom can bend over and touch the floor with her palms. It's a very, very, very weird relationship. It's weird.
It kind of goes into, I mean, he seems to be having, and again, I know the freak offs, that his son is there. Like, it seems like he likes to get down with his kids.
Yeah. But that wasn't all. Just to hear Little Rod say, like, the boys were around. Roger Bonds talked about the children as well. What kind of parenting relationship is that?
Jaguar Wright has made claims interpreting aspects of Sean Combs' personal relationships through a psychological lens, suggesting that he may have carried unresolved emotional issues that influenced how he related to romantic partners. In her view, this could manifest as attempting to shape partners' appearance, behavior, and lifestyle in ways that reflect an idealized personal standard. She connects this idea to broader allegations and public accounts describing strict expectations around image, association, and personal presentation within relationships. It's important to note these interpretations remain speculative commentary rather than verified fact, but they are often discussed alongside other claims as part of a wider attempt to understand patterns of control and behavior attributed to him in various narratives.
As CEO Ted Sarandos knows, he's been amassing footage since he was 19 to tell his own story in his own way. It is fundamentally unfair and illegal, that's the thing I'm more interested about, for Netflix to misappropriate that work. Netflix is plainly, let me get to this, plainly desperate to sensationalize every minute of Mr. Combs' life without regard for truth in order to capitalize on a never-ending media frenzy. If Netflix cared about truth or Mr. Combs' legal rights, it would not be ripping private footage out of context, including conversations with his lawyers that were never intended for public viewing. No rights in that material were ever transferred to Netflix or any third party, the statement continues. It is equally staggering that Netflix handed creative control to Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, a longtime adversary with a personal vendetta who has spent too much time slandering Mr. Combs. Beyond the legal issues, this is a personal breach of trust. Mr. Combs had long respected Ted Sarandos and admired his legacy. Uh-oh, Netflix, you're getting called out by Diddy. What are you going to do? He has admired the legacy of Sarandos' late father-in-law, Clarence Avant. For Netflix to give his life story to someone who has publicly attacked him for decades feels like an unnecessary and deeply personal affront. At minimum, he expected fairness from people he respects.
Sean Combs and his representatives have described the recent documentary and related media coverage as a misleading and unfair portrayal of his life and career. In public statements, his position is that certain footage used in the project was not properly authorized and that private conversations, including those involving legal counsel, were taken out of context. His team has also criticized the involvement of 50 Cent, suggesting that a personal rivalry may have influenced the framing of the project. From this perspective, Combs has argued that his personal archives and self-documented material were intended for a future autobiographical project, and that the release of similar content through other channels represents an unauthorized use of material he considers part of his own life story.
If I didn't say anything, you would interpret it as hip hop is fine with his behaviors. There's no one else being vocal. So you would look at it and just say, because that mind your business, or let me not say nothing about nothing, or those things, it would allow the entire culture to register as if they're for that behavior.
50 Cent has responded to the controversy by arguing that staying silent would be interpreted as the hip-hop community accepting or excusing the behavior being discussed. In interviews such as his appearance on Good Morning America, he has said that because few others were speaking publicly, he felt pressure to address it in a more direct way rather than remaining quiet or limiting his response to social media commentary. He has pointed to his involvement in producing a multi-part documentary project that includes interviews with former associates, legal perspectives, and public allegations connected to Sean Combs, framing it as an effort to document what has been widely discussed rather than to retaliate personally. At the same time, representatives of Netflix have stated that the material used in the project was obtained through legal channels and described the production as a journalistic-style exploration rather than a personal attack, noting that requests for participation from Combs and his legal team were declined. Taken together, supporters of the documentary argue it reflects a convergence of public statements, legal proceedings, and archival material, while critics dispute its framing and motivations.